Created to excite, ignite, and expose. Let's tune in with your host, R.W. Jones.
I always get mad when I be listening to that, be like, yeah, yeah. So I know we're on the YouTube and we're streaming live. Welcome to the Can I Live? Is it me or can y'all hear like two people?
I just hear you.
Okay, cool.
We
Cool,
only
cool,
hear
cool.
one, but Raquel, please don't go any further without stating this is our inaugural broadcast on
Without
YouTube.
without saying what?
This is our inaugural broadcast on YouTube. This is our first live on YouTube.
Yeah, it is. It
We
is.
struggle to get 100 people just to be able to go live. 100 subscribers.
Right. We definitely did, you guys. We struggled so hard to get 100 because YouTube won't let you go live unless you have 100 viewers. I mean, we was at it in the midnight hours. I was texting people like, just join, just join. But welcome to everybody to the inaugural first time ever podcast from Can I Live, the Can I Live podcast, a show created to ignite, excite, and expose. I'm your host, R.W. Jones, and we have with us a couple of callers. If anybody knows anything about Can I Live, we are a National Public Housing Tenants Association. And we've been doing this work since 2012, so about 10 years, but I've been doing this work since 2003. And today, most of you guys don't know, we are on the welfare tour. And so we are on a mission to move 1 million moms off the welfare system. And if you guys can see my background, you will see this tour bus behind me. And we are in the great city of Long Beach. Talk about I'm always trying to do my little west side. Is it like this? The little west side going on. I'm over here looking like I got some kind of palsies or something here. I'm trying to do west side. Like we are in Long Beach, Compton, Inglewood, Los Angeles. We are in these streets today. And we have a great show today because we have a host. I mean, not a host, but we have some guests from Houston Housing. You guys always hear us talking about it. But I also have my guests, my panel. I have the wonderful Monette Brown, my little brownie. And then I have Monica Squires from Changing Mindsets out in Pittsburgh, actually. Then I have Dr. McTarian with us. She's going to, always be in the room. Whenever she's in the room, you're going to have some sound wisdom outside of my ridiculous, crazy stuff sometimes. I definitely need that. But we definitely wanted to be here today. We're not going to be before you long, but it was important that we shared something with you today because something happened today while we were on a call with the Houston Housing Authority. It was a resident council call. And most of you guys, if you're out there in the public housing land, in the Section 8 land, public housing is heavily regulated by HUD. And residents have rights. If you live in HUD subsidized housing, you have rights. And one of those rights is the rights to organize. The second part of the rights is you have the ability to influence all operations of housing. It's just that for so long, that's never really happened. And when it happens, when resident councils start to exert their power and use their strength to bring in and actualize their authority, sometimes things happen. And so today was just a very, very heated debate in the council simply because they were discussing the annual plan. And so this is $9 million plus every year. And from the 9 million, I want to say for 5 years, there was an allocation of almost $48 million. And $48 million, there was a conversation that the Housing Authority had put before the council, which I have 2 members of the council here today. But I need you guys to understand what $45 million worth of activities look like or could look like. But the council members have requested a copy of the annual plan. and they weren't able to get it. Some staff member or someone from the team told them to look it up themselves. Totally, totally, totally inconsiderate, non-compliant, because how can you allow, or how can you expect the resident councils to make a decision on $45 million if they've never even read the plan? The plan is huge. You need at least 30 days to even read the plan. And so the plan is supposed to be submitted with the signatures, or at least an acknowledgement that residents were involved, because that's what the HUD reg says, that residents need to be involved in and consulted with when conducting this plan. However, residents are not. So if you are a resident of public housing, and I see your hand, Verdell, if you are a resident of public housing and you don't understand the annual plan, and you're just being used as this, proxy, just to stand in and write your signature, you're literally signing away not just rights and responsibilities, but you don't even have a clue. And so the goal was to see what resident councils wanted. What did they want to accomplish over the last 5 years? Well, first of all, before you can ask the council what do they want, let's explore what are the opportunities and the options. What options do resident councils even have? Most of the time, they're like, we want a playground, we want to have parties and picnics or whatever. But what about for $45 million, when all of that money triggers Section 3? What are the requirements we are requiring of that housing authority to adhere to Section 3? Jobs, contracts, training, redevelopment. And I tell you, when they found out that we was in the meeting listening in, they shut the whole meeting down. And they was like, no, shut that down. And we was like, but this is a public meeting about public dollars. Let's make this plain. HUD dollars are taxpayers' dollars that are given to housing authorities to manage and provide, oversight over the housing stock, public dollars. So they never notified anyone that said it was a closed meeting. But the staff, Kim, you're gonna have to, before we invite, the two council members here, that they can introduce themselves, because I want them to tell you firsthand, what did that feel like? Because I promise you, when they told them to shut the cameras down, they was like, shut that down, just shut it down. And they were real nice about it. How about this? What we're gonna do? We're gonna just shut that down, and then we can move on. Not these two. Oh no, not these two. Oh no, they'll tell you off the back. They was like, no, that's not gonna happen. And I promise you, when that thing got heated, I thought they was gonna fight in there. And that's not cool. We too old to be acting like that. One, professional to be acting like that too. But people were really heated and mad because there was someone else in the room. And so we had to write a letter to the CEO to explain that we have never in our life just been in a situation where staff was also a part of such deplorable conduct. Because we had a staff member actually say specifically, she don't got time for this, she get paid for this, and in so many other words, this is $45-48 million. This is above y'all, bigger than y'all, and y'all really ain't no real, like, and I'll let the CUNY Homes resident councils kind of rephrase what she said, because we absolutely recorded it, so we have it. But it was absolutely disturbing. And I know, Kim, you said something earlier, because I guess we're seeing this spirit across the nation. I know the Bible talks about despising the poor. And I don't know if it, What did it say? I'm breaking up? I'm breaking up, Monica? No, I'm not.
You're
So
not
you
breaking
gotta
up.
unmute. Okay, you gotta unmute yourself, Kim. What does the Bible say about the poor being despised? despised. You got to look the scripture up too. Monet, look the scripture up. Cause you know I stay having to look a scripture up. But you're gonna have to unmute yourself to talk too. The poor is despised. And in this case, it was the case. It was the case. And this is what's happening across the whole entire United States of America. And so, listen, we rolling in. Did we not? If you even seen anything, this thing is about to turn upside down because we're going into these communities and making families aware of their rights. Not only their rights, what's available.
Amen.
I know it says something about the poor being despised. What does it say?
Well, it says in Ecclesiastes 9:16, it says, wisdom is better than strength, but the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are no longer heeded. The quiet words of the wise are more to be heeded than the shouts of a ruler of fools. So basically, it just tells you that poor people's words are not taken into consideration. And we know that to be true because no one wants to adhere to those who live in public housing. Like you said, what we find is that they sort of use their presence, their names, and their existence to further along their agenda. So it's almost like they co-authorize the rich to make money. They co-authorize the rich to gentrify them, or they're used as head count. But their words, their considerations, their recommendations are not adhered to. So though it be in writing that they have the power to have a council and all the powers that allot them to be a powerful entity, in actuality or in practice, they're just overridden by those who feel they have more authority.
So let's invite, we have Verdell Ingram and Deborah Hill. They are the council's, 2 council members from the CUNY Homes tenant councils. Can you guys hear us?
Yes, I can.
So
This
I
is
want to
Deborah.
applaud you guys for just taking a stand. Y'all could have easily, and we're not going to say any names on the rest of the councils, but councils that were with you guys all up until now totally got amnesia, totally, I don't recall, totally. And I was just flabbergasted, but you said this happens to you guys all the time. And so talk to me about how you felt. Were you at any point in time, did all of that commotion not incite fear, or was it more frustration?
Deborah, are you there? Well, this is
She can't
Verdell.
talk.
This is Verdell Ingram. I am the treasurer of CUNY Homes, Houston, Texas. And one of the things, I've been on the council off and on for like 9 or 8 years. And so now it's frustration that when I first got on there, I was in shock, and I was in culture shock also, because our ancestors fought for us to have the opportunity. And I believe they thought that we would be critical skill thinkers. And to see people run when it get heated, run rather than stand up as a leader, that's the thing that gets me. If you're gonna lead, it's not gonna always be easy to lead. And to see what we have today, what Ms. Jones did not say is, when they heard the name, Can I Live, it was over. They don't want anything to do. When she said, Can I Live, a tenant organization, they locked it down. So what are they fearing? What are the Houston Housing Authority employees fearing? If you're supposed to be a leader, then you should embrace knowledge.
And I'm not saying that the CEO doesn't embrace knowledge. What I will say is that they've been just, how do I say, conditioned to do business a certain way. And hence is why they don't want the voice of residents to really be heard, because of what happened today. Residents sometimes can get very messy the nuances, the attitudes, the conflict. And but here's the deal. The same conflict that is in that room amongst the resident councils themselves is no different from the conflicts out here with the Crips and the Bloods. Because I promise you, if we was all, I ain't gonna say we, because I wasn't a part of that hostility like that. Not saying that y'all was, but it's always in our meetings. And this is in meetings across the board. I've seen meetings across the board in other, countries, cities, not countries, but cities and housing authorities, where they'll be ready to just go down to blow, and nobody can focus on the hand of business. But it ain't no different from the little guys in the street that be arguing, shooting and stabbing. The only difference is they have a weapon that can kill, but the hate is nonetheless still the same. And the only thing I can say is there's something about, like, let's make this plain. When we hear about poor, you could live in public housing and not be poor. Poverty is a mindset. So a mindset that can't understand, can't put together, have challenges with making good of, putting it together. I don't consider Verdell poor, Deborah poor at all. Very well within their wits, to very resourceful, joy, love, peace, hope, vision. You know what I'm saying? Full of things that money can't buy. That's not poor. But I do believe that people associate anybody that is in public housing as, oh, that's them. You're less than, you're not equal to, you're subpar, inadequate, insufficient. And I think we carry that. I think no matter if you live in public housing or not, Section 8, if you in poverty, you carry that scar of nothing I do is enough. And I mean, that thing was so heated. It really, you don't know, Verdell, but I had to take a whole nap. I got off the phone and I had to go in the room, and I had to, first of all, as soon as we got off the phone, we walked like a whole 3-4 laps. Then I had to go lay down, and I had to remove from my heart. And I had to pray for the staff members, because I said, forgive them, Father, they don't know what they do. That even though if it's protocol, because here's the deal. If today was just protocol, and let's say the council, the CUNY Home Council made a mistake and didn't adhere to protocol. Well, if it was protocol would have put a meeting notice out there and would have said that the meeting was closed to discuss personal matters. But for you to discuss an annual plan, it's just an annual plan. It's the same annual plan that's going to be released to the public. There's really, I wouldn't say that would be a closed meeting, but that doesn't mean, because there's rules to even having a closed meeting. There's reasons why you would have a closed meeting. And I wouldn't say that the next meeting that they have to discuss the annual plan would be closed. But I will say to you guys, if you guys are out there in housing authorities, public housing, having these same power struggles with the housing authority, number one, do not go to a resident and annual planning meeting when you had not even been supplied the documents. And you need to be able to say that in writing. You need to be able to say, okay, you have a meeting that we were not adequately notified for, and we have not received the materials to review prior to the meeting. Because I promise you, if I look at the old annual plan, the new annual plan really should be up there, actually. I'm going to say Houston housing. And the fact that you asked for, and they told you to look it up. I was going to say, who said that? And y'all got NTW? There's no way. Oh, no. Let me tell you something right now. I saw that agenda. That agenda says something about annual plan, 5-year plan, and an NTW implementation. Those are 3 separate, huge discussions to break down to residents. By the time they get through the annual plan, you ain't gonna give a dag on what that 5-year plan say. You're not even gonna care. So let's look at this. There's the public comment period will extend from September 26th. I'm trying to share my screen. Let's see, share. So this is Houston Housing Annual Plan. So they're moving to a MTW, it looks like. And MTW, it's like more like a funding. It allows the housing authority to get like all of their funding in like one lump sum versus the way they're paid. I know it does help, but then I also know it has also some. So these are the public meetings. So tomorrow is the public meeting for the MTW. So we definitely want to be on that call because the one things and then the annual plan. So here go the plan right here, 2023. That's the ACOP. Look at that, the FSS action plan. So here's another thing. More than likely, because this is an institution or an agency run by federal dollars, most of their stuff is going to be on the website. So when you're looking at the website, you can see the FSS action plan, annual plan narratives, MTW supplements. So it's a lot of information to have to dig through. And they're really good. Obviously, they have the 2016, 2017, 2018, but I would want to look at the 2022 annual plan and then look at the 2023 annual plan. So let's see. But the fact is they could have at least gave it to you. So they have the statement of housing, deconcentration of other policies. Let's see, it's 18 pages, which is not really that crazy. But these are some estimated financial resources, 171 million from HCV, which is Section 8. Section 8 new construction, public housing operations. So this is a huge agency. Resident self-sufficiency, Jobs Plus grant, central office, business activities, real estate components. Okay, so this is pretty much the estimated total. Let me see. Rent determination. We're just looking. Housing choice neighborhood. They have some information there. So I'm going to take some time and look into the plan, but Verdell and Deborah, I would definitely, highly recommend that you guys also take some time to look at, what they're writing and what they're planning. So this is also development projects in the plan and development phases that will be undertaken by the Housing Authority. So you got CUNY Homes, mixed development, 1,100 units, new construction. And so that's estimated timetable 2023. And so while you have 553 units currently, mixed development does mean that they're going to be bringing in additional development, which they would need to in order, because HUD subsidies are not enough to make anything, profitable to the degree if it's just 100% subsidized. So they're going to have to put private rent. They're going to have to put some tax credits. So they call that, mixed use, where it blends a different, public housing subsidy or the Section 8 subsidy, maybe project based, whatever those different type of formulas they're going to have per door. They're going to need a mixture of it in order for it to perform, because there are private developers that will come in. Now, 1,100 units means they're going to add 500 units in addition to this.
May
Go
I ask you
ahead.
that was where our representative came in and told them where they're gonna put them, because if they're gonna put them on this same property, those 1,100 units, then they're gonna squeeze us out because these are too small as it is. And so that's what we were saying. We wanted to keep the 553 units as affordable. Then the other units, they could do mixed. We all agreed on that, but when it got to the paperwork, that's not what it says. So
No, because you can't tell the people who are writing the numbers and making the deals work, because at the end of the day, the deal got to work. So you can't tell them how many units to keep. As long as 553, they will keep 553 in their portfolio, but they also can take 200 or 300 or half, stick it there with the affordability, and then the other half, they could stick it somewhere else,
that's
put it
not what
somewhere
they
totally
said.
different.
That's not what they said. They told us that they was gonna keep all 553 was gonna stay affordable. And
Well, it
everything
has
else-
to. It they could not, it has to stay affordable. Because when it comes to disposition, demolition, redevelopment, you can't take a public housing unit and make it unaffordable. You can't remove the housing unit from the portfolio of affordability, from the affordable housing portfolio. You have to keep it affordable. It's just that you don't have to keep 100% of it there in that same area. You could break it up. So it's
That's
still
not the-
affordable.
See, that's the confusion part. That's not what they said, because the reason I'm bringing this up, I constantly say it. We want to keep them all affordable. And when we move out, we are a community. So we don't want you to move us out to Katy and Memorial City. We want to stay in close proximity. We do not want to be moved way out. And we want all 553. That's what they said until it went to paper. So lip service was saying, oh, we're going to do all 553. Everyone that move out can move back in. That's what they were saying. But when I went and read the paperwork was not saying to us what they were saying.
Did you ask them to explain it?
Yes. However, they would always be in a meeting where they're going to get back with you. They don't never have time. They trying to get through this meeting. We was doing Zoom meetings, not just with CUNY, but we was doing it with those that was from the city, the neighborhood groups, and all of those were on the meeting. Because what I stressed heavily in the meeting on top of that was Houston Housing Authority and the nation, when you go to work, if you live in public housing, you pay 30% of your gross, GROSS. But you don't bring that home because IRS is already taking their tax out.
Yeah, but that's across the nation. You can't, that's not the fight we're going to fight and win today with this battle of redevelopment. I think the conversation, without getting into the nuances, because the deals, put like this, in order for the deal to happen, the deal has to make sense financially. The bank is going to, and it has to be supported by the bank. And more often than not, I've never seen it when it didn't. These developers know how to write it on paper to make it make sense to the bank. Because if they cannot make that payment, then the bank is out of millions of dollars. So while we may only understand a fraction of it, we may not understand all of it, but that's up to the housing authorities to actually, break down. And I would implore each and every one of you guys are listening to this conversation. I know we're working with a couple of, we have a couple of conversations out there to start some development classes, development 101, to teach development, because it's unfair to bring anybody to the table to have a conversation or something that they know very little about. It's not fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to know about development. We want to know about soft loans. We want to know about, financing a deal, syndicates and things like that. These are the things that we want to know too. And I feel like if y'all live there, it's y'all home. Y'all should, nobody else should know about this stuff more than you guys. People should come to the table willing and able to teach, to show how these things are made, so that you guys are not in this position year after year. I just think it's very unfair. And it just proves the social injustice. It proves the spirit of the nation that wants to silence the voice of poor people, and poor people just not being able to see what hand or how the hands are moving left and right, up and down. It's like the game is being played on top of you and you don't even know where to go, what to do. And that's a problem.
But Ms. Jones, one thing about them training you, if you remember at the table, you were challenged by a third party that thought they had the right to challenge you all being at the table. And that's the person they wanted to train us. And if you remember, when you asked them questions, they didn't give you the correct answer. They was telling you that the leader of resident council could close the meeting without, and she had all the control.
Yeah, no, that's not the case. Even if I mean, you want to respect the seat. If you are a president, you definitely want to have the respect of the seat. That means you got to go in the meeting with your team. The only reason why she may have lost control of the meeting in that instance was because y'all were not in agreement. And had y'all been in agreement before coming to the meeting and been clear on what the game plan was, that should have never happened. But if she felt blindsided because she felt like she didn't know we were going to be there, she don't remember us coming into the meeting, or I mean, that is real. So it's not like our position was right, theirs was wrong. More than it was miscommunication. But no matter what, it was miscommunication. But that could have just, the meeting could have just kept going. We were just sitting there. There was nothing wrong with us being in a meeting for a plan that's online. Like the whole plan I just showed you online. And all you guys were asking was somebody else to be there to help us understand. That's all. There was nothing wrong with that. So the meeting should have continued, but it didn't. So my message to everybody, if you guys are out there listening, if you guys have a redevelopment project coming up, if you guys are going through redevelopment with your housing authority, it's happening so fast, you guys. And I can't promise that there are a lot of entities like us that really want to ensure that you get access. But I promise you this, for the nation that is talking about equity, inclusion, and access and diversity bullshit, excuse me. Don't excuse me. It's just rhetoric. It's rhetoric. You have no intentions on making anything diversified. You have no intentions on including anybody. You have no intentions on equity and or access, because if you did, you would know that that would mean a total different approach than the approach you are taking right now. So if you are an advocate, if you work for a nonprofit, if you are in the public housing space whatsoever, and you believe poor people should have access to the communities they call home, then you have to speak up. You have to come to the aid of these families. You have to train, you have to develop. And if you are a developer who is developing these organizations, one thing, they're not even adhered to Section 3. But then there's a whole nother thing to just come in and just leave the communities in the same, in worst scenario than when it was when you left or before you came, because now 50 million, $40 million is coming into our communities, and we can't account for a job, training. We can't account for no wealth building, no major contracts coming to our business. And then shame on also, I want to have a message to the Chamber of Commerce's. Chamber of Commerce, is your job as an association is to ensure that your members have access to business. How is it that a predominantly a federal entity like public housing with 2,800 housing authorities in the nation, how is it that the redevelopment projects, 99.9999999% is going to Caucasian big business? Unacceptable. Mind you, the people that live in the housing make up more than half. If in some cases, 99.9% of them are African American. While we make up 13% of the whole entire United States, more than half of the populations within public housing in Section 8 are made up of African American single female head of households. That's a problem. So shout outs to the CUNY Home Resident Council. I hope and pray that you guys stay strong. But anybody else from Allegheny, from DC, Texas, Dallas, like all of you guys out there, this is a righteous thing. You want to do God, you praying on God. We be praying for God to do something, and God is like, but I did it. I already did it. Your blessing, your wealth, your legacy, your next opportunity is in your backyard. And it's in these annual plans and these 5-year plans. It's 18 billion in Section 3 contracts. It's just going missed out the door, missed. these reports that these cities are providing and the housing authorities are providing, when we FOIA the data, it's saying 0 for training, 0 for employment, 0 for contracting, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Like nobody, what's happening? Get your whole lives together out there. You a resident damn council member for 40 years and you don't know where this money is? You just were not adequately trained. Get training. Call Can I Live? We do it. And then, so we could go on and on, but I definitely wanted to make sure we highlighted that it was very contentious. It really disturbed my whole soul. So much so I had to take 2 naps. I know I told y'all I took a nap earlier, but I literally took 2 naps because my whole spirit, I was wiped for the day. My whole spirit man was like, he had 2 left shoes on all day. And I was like, okay, I'm tired of walking with 2 left shoes. I'm gonna just sit down and I'm gonna go to sleep. It was that egregious. And I do this every day, all day. I just never seen that hostility towards a people before. And so I ask you guys, CUNY Home residents, keep your heads up, put on the armor of God before y'all walk out the door, and fight the good fight of faith. Fight the good fight. That's what the Father says. Fight the good fight. Because this fight, and then forgive them. They don't know. They don't know. And we're not trying to be oppositional. We're just trying to sit at the table. We come in with all peace and humility. We're not coming any way else. So to be treated like that is absolutely, that just shows you, where they are. So, keep strong, you guys. Only God knows what will happen. But I do believe CUNY Homes belongs to the Father. And as long as y'all staying strong, only good things can come from your strength and your stands. And the same with other people, same with all other councils. Only good things can come. Put God first and pursue love at all costs. That even though we disagree, that don't mean I don't love you. We could disagree, but at the end of the day, I love you. We gotta maintain the love. We gotta maintain the peace. We may not always agree. Amen. Cam, you have
Amen.
any parting words?
Well, again, I do want to congratulate CUNY Homes Resident Council for a job well done. First of all, thank you for standing strong, as Raquel said, for your efforts to stand your ground and protect your own interests. That takes a lot, because a lot of people in this country would have waited for you to fall or to fold under pressure. It was just amazing that some of those who were in public housing authority thought that when they left, the show had ended, and you kept the ball rolling. You defended yourselves, and for that, we can go to sleep at night knowing that, we're not being your advocates. You're becoming your own with the right tools, and that is what this is all about: is how to stand for yourselves, to move forward and be your own entity. You don't need anybody to forever hold your hand, and you desire to make yourselves self-sufficient, which is, again, not a program, but a mindset. And you showed it today that you want to be self-sufficient. You have come to the table to be self-sufficient, and I believe that's what that meeting was all about. But again, when all else fail, you have to know that your truth will prevail, and his truth is what keeps us marching on. So again, congratulations, CUNY Homes. People will come, people will go, people will get fired, and people will move on. But you are residents, and you live there, and you aim to make a life for yourself. So we can do nothing else but support your endeavors.
Amen. All right, Monica, any parting words?
Just want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we just want to continue to work hard and follow God first, because with Him, all things are possible. So just want to say, guys, thank you. Keep moving, keep growing, keep learning, and we'll get there. We just got to stay strong, got to stay consistent, and stay under God's mission and purpose. So thank you.
Amen. And I had this, I will end with this story that there is a Caucasian gentleman, I will not say his name, but he told me the other day, he said, he was like, it's like you guys are in slavery. And I was like, it's not funny. So it's not even funny. Because I was explaining the story to him about how moms, and really moms, because they get the benefits. Dads don't really get nothing. Even single dads have trouble. But they, moms that get welfare benefits, and we call them welfare, but public housing, Section 8, child care, TANF, WIC, SNAP, Medicaid, disability, SSI, SSD. These programs are given to us with enormous rules, enormous applications, enormous just red tape. And it's so burdensome that it traps us. That if you left, you would have to report your income in 10 days and then lose everything. That means you cannot leave. That means you are a slave. You are not free. And so while you guys think that this is some power struggle, this is about freedom. And while it may look different from Harriet Tubman's days, she had to go and get free herself. But it was not enough for her to get free. She had to come back. She had to help others get free. She said she would have freed more had they known that they were even slaves. So I'm here to tell you today that if you are living in a roach, rat, mold infested apartment, deplorable living conditions, not suitable for a dog. Half of these units, I wouldn't put my own little doggy there overnight for no money. You're living in these conditions and you want them to be different, and you're not even going to a resident council meeting. You're not even going to the board of commissioners meeting. You are a slave and you don't even know it. And so the work that you guys need to be doing, the work of the council, the work of CUNY Homes, you guys are freeing slaves. Some that don't know it and some that do. Because if anybody in CUNY Homes had the money to leave, they probably would have been gone by now. Which tells you that they are there not due, while they may have something to do with their ability to stay there. If they had the resources, they would have left a long time ago. So nobody's in CUNY Homes just because they ain't got nowhere else to, ain't nothing else to do. Like we rep in CUNY Homes because this is the place to be. While you might love your community, you love the people in the community, but the deplorable conditions, oh no, that needs to be mitigated immediately. So development is a must. Just make sure that when you guys develop, and this is for anybody in the whole United States, if you sell out for a refrigerator and a stove, granite countertops and a new unit, you are a slave and you don't know it. And that is the voice of the poor. That is the mindset of the poor that no one respects and people will walk over all day, every day. So the only thing I can say is get free yourself. Understand what freedom looks like for you. Get free yourself and then worry about everybody else. And most of our seniors who get the disability, SSI, y'all may think that because you get this little bit of money, because it's a little bit of money, and I don't even know how you can even live off that money. That's not even enough money to live off of. You guys can own companies too. But so would you rather take the $700 a month and forsake this potential 7,000 a month? Life is not over because you are of age. Life is not over because you got disability. You still got a brain. You can still think. Y'all can think together and work together and bring wealth into your communities. That's the mindset of a wealthy person. The mindset that says, I have what I need to grow, I have what I need. Because you do. You have a whole regulation. You have a whole entire authority that you don't even, their residents ain't even read. Even read. Right. They didn't even read. And can we read? That's a whole nother podcast. Never mind. Because you got online Rosetta Stone. I love green eggs and ham. They got it. They got the whole book out there. We could do it. It's unacceptable to be in these conditions, to not, it's unacceptable. And I know it's hard, because I promise you, if I had to deal with that every day, I can't tell you I would, it's easier said than done. If I had to do that every day, I don't know if I would do it. I really don't know. So I really am praying for you guys. All you guys, all my residents out there, not my residents, but God's children. You guys out there and listen, God bless you. Keep your head on strong. Keep the fight alive. And if God is for you, who can be against you? And that's real. Despite our deficiencies, we still are human beings. We still have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We still possess inalienable rights to pursue that unhindered. No man should hinder our ability to move forward. And the only reason why we got here is because we couldn't move. So you're talking about decades of people not moving, and now we're so lethargic where we can't hardly move.
I want to say this, Raquel. I think today was a great example of, once again, this reality that when people say, well, it's all in your head, there is no oppression, there is no discrimination, there is no one is working against you. It's all in your mind. I think this was definitely a way of showing us that we're not crazy. And if we weren't, we wouldn't be able to use Harriet Tubman as an example, because Harriet Tubman had a bounty on her head. When she went to go deliver the slaves, they put a reward out for her arrest and her death. So, there is a deliberate move against people in poverty. Like, poverty is really not about finances, but empowerment. And as long as you are empowered, that means you have the control and destiny of your own life. And sometimes that's at the disadvantage of people who make money off of your lack of knowledge. As long as you don't know, that means you need me. But as soon as you know, you cut the ties of contentment, you cut the ties of dependency, which means no one can own you, no one can tell you what to do. And that is very threatening when people make their entire mortgage payments off of your ignorance. That in itself is a reality that, no one wants to believe that I pay my mortgage off your ignorance. I pay my children's tuition. The longer you stay stupid, or you killing each other, or, nobody wants to believe that. But the truth of the matter is, that's capitalism at its finest. And it's very brutal. It's vicious. And if given the right opportunity, like today, it will show you where it stands. You can write the policy, you can write what you want to write, but it will rear its ugly head as to how much control people have over your life. So again, this is the truth that we know. And it's not, this is not about win or lose. This is about truth, and we fight it with truth. So, you know, absolutely.
Amen. So we're gonna you guys, we are on our way to the Watts Housing Authority to Mother Wajia. If you guys don't know, Watts, the crisis in Watts housing, the riots back then were the reason why Section 3 was created in the first place. The Watts riots what took it off the chart over the hedge. And so we're headed over there, and I promise you, the stories that we've already heard today, they're heartbreaking. They're heartbreaking of how our seniors are taking care of their children's children, because their children was like, peace, I'm out and I'm gone. Or their children are dead. Their children are in jail. Their children are on drugs. And they are burdened with raising these teenagers these days. And they don't know what to do. They've been praying and hoping and wishing that God would come through with an answer. These are 80-year-old women taking care of some teenagers. She said by the time they 20 years old, they already in trouble. Once you get a record, what you doing? Can't get housing. Once you come out of jail, your whole section, everybody in your family gone. These communities are ravished, robbed, and just ignored. And so whatever we need to do, wherever God sends us, we're going to be hosting. We are now taking this whole entire tour right to the streets. Before, we were working with Housing Authority, and they made it very clear that they really wasn't interested. At least not all of them, but many of them. They weren't interested. You know, we got tired of being ignored at the conferences. We got tired of appeasing to them. It's like, we can help. But maybe they just saw us as residents. But I'm glad that I serve a Father who sees me as much more. He sees me as a conqueror. That's what he said. He said, you the light of the earth, you the salt of the world. You're more than a conqueror. Wealth and riches are in your house. Everything your hands touch prospers. You are the light of we are the apple of his eye. That's my Father. That's what he says about me. And because he has said those things, he has also gifted me with gifts and abilities that I will use to fight the good fight. I will use, because I made a promise. If he got me out of that hellhole in my right mind, I was coming back and I was helping others like me. But the operative word was others like me. That means you have to have a desire to get out. And if you got a desire, where there's a will, there's a way. You got a desire, we got a plan, we out of there. Period. End of story. Ain't nobody got time for all that. Stay your ass right over there with the roaches and the rats. And I ain't gonna feel no way. Charge your rent if you want to. I don't give a damn. See ya. We gotta go. It was great. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, share it, and be here next Tuesday. We supposed to start at 7, but we don't never start on time, which is ridiculous. But we love you guys. Stay strong. Be blessed. See you guys.